It's a punch to the gut. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's not a pleasant memory. I mean, I'm still, to this day, I have not watched that series.
Remember these goals?
Desjardins shot, score! Desjardins shot, score! In the short side areas again, scores! Desjardins!
Well, Kelly Hrudey does.
And the Kings' worst nightmare, Harry, has happened.
And he talks about it in this episode of I Was in Net 4. The 1993 LA Kings were riding high in the playoffs. They got past the Flames and the Canucks in 6 games and won a memorable Game 7 over Toronto in Maple Leaf Gardens and found themselves just 4 wins away from a Stanley Cup. Yeah, sure, this guy had a lot to do with it, but so did this guy.
Kelly Hrudey.
And winning makes you a really relaxed hockey team.
I remember so many times just laughing my face off in the dressing room, getting ready, putting my gear on, thinking, I like this feeling. You're in the Stanley Cup Finals and we're really relaxed and loose.
But this was, of course, the Montreal 4. All of those great teams, all of those great players. And if you think that history was lost on Kelly Hrudey, well, you'd be dead wrong.
The first person I wanted to lay eyes on, Jean Beliveau, because Mr. Beliveau always sat in the same spot. He looked so beautiful and regal always, right? He had the beautiful hair. He's a handsome man. He had a beautiful suit on. For every single time I played in Montreal, I would try and take a look at Jean Beliveau because I admired him greatly, and it's just such an important part of our history.
And when Mr. Beliveau sat down, he saw Hrudey make 31 saves in Game 1, and the Kings were now looking to do the unthinkable. Leave Montreal with a 2-0 series lead. But the Habs, and specifically Eric Desjardins, had other plans.
Ian LeBeau fight for it. It comes to the line. Desjardins shot, score! The Canadiens get the first one.
On the replay, Bob, you're going to see that Kelly Hrudey knew he should have had it. Watch the expression on his mask. Watch his head when the puck goes through.
Not only did I throw my head back, I slammed my stick on the crossbar. I just simply blew it. I was pissed at myself. There's no reason for letting that in. That's not a kind of goal you hope to give up in any game, but not in Stanley Cup Finals.
But the LA Kings were able to bounce back. Dave Taylor tied the game in the second period, and Pat Conacher gave them the lead in the third. And they found themselves a minute 45 away from that improbable 2-0 series lead.
You could see during a stoppage in play when the faceoff's in my own zone, and you look in the eyes of the Montreal Canadiens players and you can see defeat.
But then, it happened.
A stick measurement has been called. It's the stick of Marty McSorley.
I was unsure what was happening, but when I finally recognized that there was going to be a stick call, I became pretty happy, pretty elated, and I'll tell you why. And Harry and Bob talked about it, and Dick Urban, in fact, commented as soon as they recognized also there's going to be a stick measurement, they all started talking about me.
Harry, did you ever get a measurement on Kelly Hrudey's stick? I heard you last week.
But I think if you measured the length of his goal stick, you might find it illegal.
Because I used to try and bait teams into thinking that I was using an illegal stick, of which I did, usually for about 2 periods every game. But then for the third period, I'd always go back to a legal stick. And I'd leave a stick in the garbage pail after the morning skate or something like that. And oh my gosh, here comes Carey Fraser, and he's gonna grab my stick. And next thing I know, he goes over to Marty.
An illegal stick. Jacques Demers waiting for this moment. 1:45 remaining.
And McSorley is crushed, but he knew that stick was illegal. If he didn't, he should have measured it, because anyone who looked at it knew it was close.
Schneider ready. Desjardins, no shot. On the outside. Desjardins shot. Score!
And I thought throughout my career I was maybe one of the better guys, one of the better goalies at fighting through traffic and trying to find the puck. I really prided myself on that. But unfortunately, in that one case, John Clare did a much better job than I did. And then I went to what would have been the standard play back then. If you can't get your eyeballs on it, get as low as you can and spread out. Try and take away the bottom of the net. So I tried to do that as best as I could, and I give Desjardins credit for recognizing that's what I was trying to do.
So we've got overtime coming up.
So after 60 minutes, it was now the Habs that were riding high, and the Kings, not so much.
Yeah, well, we weren't having the time of our lives in that intermission, I can tell you. There was no laughing. In fact, I'd have to say it might be the worst fight or argument I've ever seen in a dressing room. And I'm sure there have been others that have been at that level, but man, it was what I would consider chaos for a while. And I know I stood up at one point, and I know other players tried to sort of get us to refocus.
And just who was doing the fighting?
There were a lot of guys fighting, let's just say that.
And overtime did not last long.
Ronan coming up there. Ronan carries in. Ronan in front of the net. And a shot. Desjardins following the play. And he missed in the short side. Here he is again. Scores. Desjardins. And the Canadiens win in overtime. His third goal of the game. And the series is a brand new one.
And so he gets that first shot, and he tried to go high glove, but he missed it. And I saw it all the way. I knew what was going on. I did think, though, that based on where he shot the puck, most times, like 95, 99% of the time, that puck is going to go over my glove, back to my right, and into the corner somewhere or along the boards. That didn't happen because it hit the stanchion. Bit of luck for the Canadiens that the puck hits the stanchion, drops immediately down at the back of the net, and Hrudey came out the short side, got it to Desjardins. He did a good job because he faked me off. He gave me a look that he was going high glove again. So I was all over that. I was ready for high glove. And if you watch the film, just at the very last second, he cups the blade of the stick over the puck and goes 5-hole.
You're the only man that could solve Kelly Hrudey. Let's look at the way you did it to decide the game, and you can tell me about this goal.
He's not known to have a big 5-0, but I just put it there. I don't know, it just happened like this.
Well, there's a lot of thinking going on, right? Like, you know, for Desjardins to say that, I didn't hear that. This is the first time I've heard that, but, you know, you're playing out all these different scenarios. What might happen? And it's cool to hear that that's kind of what he said, that he was thinking. I'm not a guy that normally gives up a 5-0, even though I was, as you can tell, it didn't work in my favor, but I was trying to bait him into going 5-0 because it's big.
It'll be a bitter pill to swallow for everybody involved.
And you know that saying, time heals all wounds? Well, that's not the case with Kelly Hrudey.
One of my worst memories. Like, the entire game is by far my worst memory in hockey. And so I don't really focus on Desjardins as much as the entirety of the game itself.